what do I mean by lifestyle? I remember when I was a child in Brazil, I grew up in Brazil, soap operas were very, very popular. Everybody watched the soap operas when I was a kid. The adults, the children, everybody would stop, before dinner, after dinner, we would watch what's going on. And what we saw in those soap operas were awesome lives. Everybody was wealthy, they all had nice cars, and a lot of people just spent their days, having a good time in some way. Some soap operas I remember were, historically based, and I remember one that really impressed me was about slavery. But for the most part, soap operas were always shot in the best parts of the country, and the picture was really awesome. And I remember later, when I was 15, 16, our family moved to Minneapolis, and the National Public Radio, NPR, aired a program. I don't know if they're still on the air or not, but I used to listen to this person. The program was called News from Lake Obegon. Of course, Minnesota is the 10,000 lake state, and there are a lot of lakes there. So this person created this fictional lake called Lake Obegon, and his slogan was, "This is a place where all the men are good looking, all the women are strong, and all of the children are above average," which of course, is just kind of a fun way of expressing, this is like an awesome place with great lifestyle. And it was kind of a parody, a little bit of comedy, a little bit of sarcasm. It was a really interesting program. I haven't heard that for years, but I remember being highly entertained by the news from Lake Obegon. And the point I'm saying is that, describing to you a place where, we can all go to the beach and we can all get together with our friends, and we drive these really nice cars and we have really awesome dinners. What I'm describing there is one lifestyle. Where I lived in Brazil when I was a child was in a community, in a place right next to what we call a favela. So I could literally walk, and I frequently did, to the favela as a child. It would take me a few minutes, maybe 20 minutes, whatever, walking, but I would cross several streets, and eventually I would be at this favela. I'll never forget it. I had to climb this little hill, this little mound, and it was like a 2-story, very steep incline, pure dirt, and there were some holes on the dirt. And we would go to this favela, and I'll never forget the impressions. We lived in a pretty nice neighborhood, nice house, showers and hot water, that kind of thing, right? But the kids in the favela played in essentially open sewage and so forth. So this is a lifestyle. Their lives were a certain way because they had no access to many of the things that perhaps you and I would consider to be normal or understood to be basic necessities, not to them. In Lake Obegon, to go back to the story in Minneapolis, every man was strong, every man was good looking, every woman was strong, and every child was above average. You see, this is a place where lifestyle is awesome. So lifestyle is just the way we live, and every one of us lives a certain lifestyle. It's whatever your life is like, it's your lifestyle, it's the style of your life. And when you say, well, how can I break that down into components? Typically we look at things like health, wealth, and relationships, right? The 3 big things that go into that. And of course, a 4th one being vocation or work. So if I have enough money to decide what vacations I want to go to, this wealth, right, goes into the category of wealth. I can make decisions not necessarily based on what things cost, but on what I believe is right for me at the time, or not. That's part of the lifestyle. If I can never make a decision based on what I want, but instead I must decide based on what I can afford, that's part of my lifestyle. And that becomes ingrained into our very neurology. Everywhere we go, the first thing we look at is the price, and we make decisions based on that. It becomes a habit. Similarly, things like health, if going for a walk is a possibility because I can walk, that's part of the lifestyle. I go for a walk every afternoon, as an example. Well, for some people, that's not a possibility. For some people, carrying a child would not be possible. Their backs hurt. So health encompasses not just things like I'm not sick, but also what things I can or cannot do. That's part of your lifestyle. Relationships is really interesting because 70% of what we think goes into quality of life has to do with relationships. Do we have friends, family members, a significant other? That has a lot to do with lifestyle. So lifestyle is the way we live. And for the most part, people in developed societies are always looking to upgrade and improve their lifestyle because they believe they can. They believe it is a possibility. There are people for whom upgrading or changing their lifestyle doesn't seem to be a possibility. Whether it is or it isn't possible is debatable, but they don't think it's possible, so sometimes they don't even work on it because they believe there's nothing they can do. So that's what lifestyle is. And I am hoping that you would be interested, no matter where you're at in life, in upgrading your lifestyle because we all deserve to.